Hey man, can you clean up this mess that you've made? No, it wasn't me. I'm pretty sure it's you. I haven't been home all week, and since you're jobless, you're pretty much at home. So, I think it is you. Are you calling me a liar?
Uh-oh, I got a confrontation on my hand. So what are my options? Option 1. I could tell him that I don't think he is a liar so I can avoid this entire confrontation and I can just clean up the mess myself. Or option 2. Tell this douche the truth, intensifying this current confrontation and having him clean up the mess.
The truth. Oh, what a simple concept, but can cause so much trouble. What's that Hollywood proverb again? The truth? You can't handle the truth. For whatever reason, a lot of people have taken that Hollywood proverb to heart. It's as if we can't be more honest with people because we're afraid that they can't handle the truth. But that's not the main reason for not telling the truth. The real reason we avoid telling the truth is that we are afraid of conflict. And that is the truth. Some of you might be in denial, but here's a quick gist. We're afraid of telling the truth since it might hurt the other person's feelings and create conflict. And since we were raised to be good, obedient children, we refrain from telling the truth either through lying or omitting facts. This helps to keep everything smooth and safe. You know, like a picture-perfect family. However, this is a horrible reason. When you choose not to be honest, what you're doing is sacrificing some temporary comfort for potentially bigger problems in the future. As we all know, a small lie will grow and then eventually blow up in our faces. Then we wished we told the truth a lot earlier since the pain would have paled in comparison to what it snowballed into. I'll be frank with you, telling the truth is not easy for most people. In Shakespeare's play Caesar, Caesar gets into a little argument about telling the truth. Take a look at this exchange in the play. Caesar, all hail. Good morrow, worthy Caesar. I come to fetch you to the Senate house. And you are come in very happy time to bear my greeting to the senators, and tell them that I will not come today. Cannot is false, and that I dare not, falser. I will not come today. Tell them so, Dacius. Say he is sick. Shall Caesar send a lie? Have I in conquest stretched mine arm so far to be afraid to tell gray beards the truth? Telling the truth wasn't easy back then in Shakespeare's time, and it isn't easy today. So accept the fact that telling the truth isn't always a smooth, trouble-free process. Accept it. Now with that out of the way, you also need to realize that being honest requires the most important virtue. Without this virtue, you won't be able to tell the truth, stand up for yourself, or get what you want in life. This virtue is courage. When we don't practice courage in our lives, well, we accept the options of avoiding conflicts. And that's a losing strategy in the long run. It's a losing strategy because conflict is a part of life. And when you choose to ignore this fact of life and succumb to the fear of conflict, you are choosing to accept a subpar life where you hope everyone likes you and that things stay the same. But like every losing strategy, you get nothing in return. Now, to really get this point across, I'll show you some quick examples of how not being honest due to a lack of courage can cause you to live a subpar life. The first example, say you're attracted to a girl, but you don't want to create an awkward situation with her. So what you do is ignore your attraction to her and instead try to be friends. Now, here's a real kicker. Not being honest about your simple need for companionship will lead you to never getting the love you want in life. For the second example, say a family member is treating you poorly, but you don't want to cause a conflicted home situation. So you try to pretend the transgression never happened. Not being honest about your simple need for mutual respect in your own family will lead you to not demanding respect from others. When you are choosing not to practice courage and not be honest with others, what you're doing is telling yourself that it's okay to live like this. And even worse, you hope the situation will change in your favor by the gratefulness of others. But it never does. You have to be courageous. You have to be honest with other people. Damn the consequences. Because when you tell the truth despite the fact that it might not end well, This will only lead you to respecting yourself more, and that alone is worth its weight in gold. Let me tell you a story of my personal experience with courage and honesty. I used to work at a startup, and one of my tasks was to go to Toronto to help start a branch of the business there with the co-founder. All things were fine with the job until the co-founder decided we needed to be more aggressive with our marketing. So with our shoestring marketing budget, he got me to wear a backpack billboard with the company logo and walk around the city with it. At first, it wasn't an issue, but after a couple of weeks of only doing that, I felt humiliated. So I had to be honest about the situation. Don't get me wrong, I was scared of what would happen to me if I told him the truth, but I had to be honest. So I told the co-founder that I didn't want to be a walking billboard anymore. He looked me in the eyes and said, "I'm paying you $40,000 a year to do work." Just hearing those words made me realize that if I stayed, not only would I be ignoring my honest thoughts about the job, I wouldn't respect myself for being treated poorly. So I said, "I guess I have to quit." And he thought I was bluffing. So the next morning, I hopped on a flight back to my hometown. The co-founder even texted me asking me where I was, thinking I was going to show up to work. Being honest led me to quit a job with nothing lined up in my future. But having the courage to tell the truth and stand up for myself made me feel so much better. That's self-respect that nobody could take away from me. And in the end, it was worth it. Okay, so how the heck do we practice more honesty in our lives? Well, when you're about to tell someone the truth, go over this one exercise. I call it the worst case scenario insurance plan. So in this insurance plan, I want you to write down what the worst case scenario would be from telling the person the truth. Then next, write out a plan on how you're going to deal with that worst case scenario. And for the love of God, don't half-ass this. When you have a solution to the worst case scenario, you will naturally have more courage in dealing with that challenging situation. The great Roman Stoic, Seneca, said 2,000 years ago, "The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive." The thing about being courageous is being able to deal with all the consequences that come with being honest. And since it's easier to deal with good outcomes, we have to consciously focus on how we're going to deal with the worst case scenarios. We have to do this since our imaginations can make the worst case scenarios feel fatal when in reality, it isn't. Like Seneca also said, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. So when you see your plan in dealing with your worst case scenario, you will begin to develop confidence in dealing with whatever outcomes that come your way, making telling the truth a little easier. And because I don't like leaving things unfinished, let's see how that earlier skit ends.
You know what? This guy. Let's select option 2. This is war.
I'm glad that skit is over. Anyways, always remember this, guys. How you do one thing is an indication of how you do everything. So if you practice courage and honesty in your simple actions, then you'll be able to practice those two virtues in much more demanding situations. And in the long run, you're going to be okay. All right, let's hop on to the summary. Finally. The reason we avoid telling the truth is that we are afraid of conflict. We need to accept that telling the truth isn't always a smooth, trouble-free process. Being honest requires us to practice courage. To practice being more honest, we should have our worst case scenario insurance plan written down to show us how to handle the consequences of telling the truth. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thank you again for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, comment, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my email list for some goodies. And guys, remember, you're not just any type of nerd, you're a charismatic nerd.